morning. Framing day 3 has just begun. Sun is starting to come up in the background. The guys started on interior walls first, so we'll go get a look at that in a moment. And we're going to quickly move into setting up trusses. So it'll be exciting to see the roof line starting to come into shape and our box will start looking like a house. Well, I turn around and it seems like half the walls are framed up already. It's starting to look good. Part of the reason it goes so quickly, Gerald laid everything out, top and bottom plates, marked and measured everything the night before for most of the walls, so that they can be framed up on the ground. And as Dallas is doing here, stand them up and move them out of the way as they're complete. It makes the process go very quickly because all the studs are already cut to length. So the top and bottom plates are marked. Then they just move them the 9 feet apart, set the studs in place, and then they've got multiple people nailing on all walls. So you can see on the left side how quickly they start assembling. There, Gerald flips a stud upright, 2 nails, quick, stands the next one up, pulls it in, next one pulls it in. It literally goes that quickly. They basically just keep going until they're out of room, and then as you can see, walls are leaning up against other walls. They just stand them up, get it out of the way, grab the next set. You can see outside, the sun isn't even up yet. They've got most of the interior walls framed up or at least started. They move quickly enough they actually tie themselves into knots with their airlines. Here's the final wall for actually the shower and closets there between the master bedroom and office. So that is half of the interior walls are done and standing. I didn't check my watch at the time, but again, by the sky, it was still very early. In case anybody's wondering, I am standing outside the house looking in because I just want to stay out of their way. But I still want to watch it get put together, so they're probably like, who is this guy? What's he doing? Got a mid-morning update here. We ran short of wall studs, so I had to run down and get those. And meanwhile, I missed them putting the beams up. That's a bit of a bummer, but it's okay. They've got them on temporary posts for now until the concrete is done, and then we'll put the big 10 or 10-inch posts underneath. But starting to take shape. I'm going to turn the camera around and show the front and back. I'm having to dodge trusses here. Those beams will hold up the porch roof. The back is the same. You see they're a double LVL, essentially a 2x12, and then they're resting on a 2x6. My plan is I will wrap those eventually in some nicer wood, or possibly fascia material. I haven't decided yet. It'll probably be what's more cost effective. So let's go around to the back. So of course the timber truss will be out on the end there. Same in the front. And then we'll have another beam that'll go towards the the garage front off to the left of the screen here. They haven't built that one yet. I suppose I interrupted bringing the studs back, so now they're putting those together. Again, standing outside so I don't have to interrupt their work. Top plate's tying everything together. I was about to say, if the gun will shoot. Walking backwards while bent over on a single 2x6, I would already be on my head on the ground. If you come and look from the inside, I saw the pantry here from the outside, of course, and my brain went to shower in the laundry room, which we're not doing. Forgot about the pantry for a second. That is in place like it's supposed to. That's correct. Well, I turn around for a second, they got a truss in the air already. So that nail you just put in was for the string line, so I can get them all lined up. Yeah, that's handy. Got the next set going up. Now the nice thing, we can see I don't know the exact word for it, cribbing, the structure of those trusses. Notice how that join is right on top of the outer wall of the house. What that really means is that the posts out on the porch and the beam aren't actually structural. They certainly will help, but the house walls are actually what's holding everything. Makes it easier to do these temporary posts out front and be able to pull them out to do the concrete because the house will hold itself up. Now in the back on the back patio, that won't be the case. That's a much larger or longer span out. what Gerald said too, what they're going to do is they're going to get like that section of roof done right to the end of that beam, and then they're going to sheet all of that so it's self-supporting. I'm about to strap a camera to the end of that. I think it's going to get wiped out. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We're on the wall. I'm sure that Annie and Russell are watching this and thinking back to the South Dakota house, standing up those scissor trusses. Dad just about trying to kill us. Not really. We lost a few. It was duck and cover. We all survived. So they're starting on the other side here. Got my truck moved into position to get a good shot. I also have a GoPro on the end of the boom, hopefully showing all that work pretty nicely. Let's see how this goes. We're good. Thanks. Starting on the other section of the house now, over kitchen, office, onwards to the garage. You can see this first truss on this run is actually 3 trusses laminated together. That actually is a girder, which is the anchor point for rafters for the vaulted ceiling and timber trusses. That helps transmit all of the weight of the roof directly down to the triple LVL, which rests on other LVLs, which rest on concrete piers. So it's transmitting all of that weight directly to the ground. Very, very stable. I figured out a way to help while being out of the way. Instead of Gerald having to jump out of the cab each time to pull the trusses over to grab the next 2, I jumped in there. So he could stay in the cab. I'd scoot the trusses over after he got out of the way with the set that are hooked. Gerald is being very careful while doing this, partly to not get these swinging too wildly because they are 64 or 65 foot long, but also he has his crew on top of the walls guiding these into position. They could get knocked off very easily. The top plates are all marked, pre-marked for 2 foot on center for the trusses. So once they're set down, then they start, well, in this case, kicking them into position. And then Gerald can unhook, back up. I've got the next set ready for him to grab. By the time he gets down here, grabs those and moves back in, the guys have the last 2 trusses secured in place and bracing started. And these 2 are ready to place. Bit of a different perspective to see it, see the house, interior walls and whatnot without a roof in the way. Something you can also see here when this next set goes up is that there's some bracing that goes inside of the trusses in the spans. You'll see Dallas moving some 2x4s into position, and until I got this engineered truss plan, I didn't realize that those are actually specified bracing. It's measured out angles and distances exactly where they're supposed to go. So it's not just temporary bracing, and it's not just where they feel like putting some. That's actually engineered where that bracing needs to be for the strongest roof. Learning a lot in this process when I'm not just putting nails where Dad told me to, or doing some home DIY renovations where we'll just make it fit. This bracing on top that they're placing, that is just temporary. That's until they get the sheet in place. Now these are the first 2 trusses that are free spanning across the garage. So it's only the outer walls of the garage that are holding these up. Here we see that bracing I was talking about that Dallas is putting in place. He's actually standing on some now. These guys are all like tightrope walkers. I would have fallen so many times. I know I've said that before, but I'm not the most graceful person. I was very amazed and impressed with these guys. Here are the last two trusses other than the outer wall. And while they secure that, Gerald drives around. He actually had to knock a hole into the sheeting there to get the hook through to lift this wall. Now this side, they didn't need the temporary upright bracing because it's hooked, and it'll stay hooked until the permanent bracing is put in place. We have most of a roof. Right at the end there, I tried to get the film going fast enough and I couldn't make it. Gerald extended the crane as high up as it would go, right up over the roof. And I'm like, what are you doing? I realized he was getting a GoPro shot way up in the air. I'll tell him thanks. And I did. And I think you had fun filming this video. I hope you had fun watching it. Stick around for part 2. Don't forget to like, subscribe, click the bell. Thanks for watching.